Infernal blessings, infernal greetings to all. Apotheosis through necromancy. This new class that I'm teaching is a very important class that's near and dear to me. Anybody who knows me knows that there's certain things that I really connect with more than others. The current of death, I've always connected to since I was a child. And it's become even stronger today. The current of death permeates everything. It is the finality that many humans are afraid of, meeting their death. The more you work with death, the more you work with the current of death, the more you understand the spirits of death, the more prepared you are to meet your own death. But in the process of encountering and understanding death, you learn to embrace life even more. And therefore, every moment of your life is exalted to a higher degree. Every event you partake in is exalted to a higher degree. Every experience is exalted to a higher degree. And this is very, very important to understand. Because one of the things that humans are most afraid of is death. And a lot of people will say, oh, no, I'm not scared of death. I'm ready to die. Yet, look at what's happening in the world today. And it's exposed many people's death. Fear of death. And it's exposed it to a higher degree where many things that shouldn't be happening are happening to us as a people. Force things, people forcing you, bullying you into things, trying to guilt you into things. That's all because people are fearing death. But necromancy, many people are associated with necromancy with two main things. That is divination, using bone skulls to divine the future and how certain events will come to be, or how to avoid certain events, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. For the most part, that's what a lot of people associate necromancy with, and it is a part of necromancy. But that isn't all that necromancy is. And I believe this is where people have a misconception and misunderstanding of necromancy. Second, they associate necromancy with hexing, cursing, destruction, death. And yes, this is a large part of necromancy as well. For necromancers do not believe in good and evil, right and wrong. They look beyond human morality, human conditioning, human limitations, human boundaries, and human programming that most of us are still living under today. Hexing is a part of this. If you have an enemy, we can hex them. If you need certain things to happen in your life, there's certain rituals that can be utilized to create the environment for your benefit. That is a large part of necromancy. And a part that many people associate with necromancy is raising the dead, raising the spirits, communicating with the spirits, things of that nature. That is a very profound part of necromancy. Then there's another current that people do not realize and do not associate with necromancy quite often, but it is a part of necromancy. Vampirism. Vampirism is a very large extent and a very powerful part of necromancy. For there is necromancers, and I'm not talking about the Hollywoodized, the gaming versions, and things of that nature. I am clearly speaking from experience that understand that humans are in a war, a mental war, spiritual war, and we're caught in the middle. We're caught in the middle. And therefore, necromancers have learned to devour the spirits, to bind the spirits, not to beg, not to grovel, not to ask, not to plead, please help me, but give the spirit a choice. We make a pact, or you will be bounded to me, or you will be devoured by me. Now, a lot of people are not aware of that fact because many people associate necromancy with video games and movies and things of that nature and don't understand these aspects of necromancy. And then there's the fourth part of necromancy, apotheosis, reaching godhood, self-deification. See, when you work with necromancy, there is many gateways and many paths that are open to you, that open up gateways to multiverses, open gateways to different realms of existence. See, we're in a planar, or the planetary existence, the physical plane, but there's multiple planes of existence that far surpass what most people on the left-hand path, occultists, or just people in general who work magic get to. Most people get so stuck in the astral realm, they don't realize there's far more planes of existence beyond the astral realm. The astral realm can be associated with the etheric realm, kind of the same. But beyond that, there's the spiritual realm, there's the mental realm, there's so on and so forth and beyond and beyond. And that's when you start to reach apotheosis, utilizing necromancy. You empower yourself by opening gateways that bring additional gnosis to your life to help you in your transfiguration, in your transformation. So at the end of the physical death, there is more beyond that that you've already experienced and therefore can journey through. This is a part of what will be taught in the new necromancy class beginning in October. This Friday, October 1st, is the first sign-up date. The first class will be October 9th. Saturday, October 9th. You have until October 7th to sign up for the necromancy class. This path is beyond the left-hand path. It is a path that exists beyond the left-hand path that many are not aware of, and therefore they stay within the bounds and confines of left-hand path. Left-hand path is beautiful. It does help reach apotheosis, help an individual transform, transfigure, and develop to reach apotheosis, but there is always more, much, much more. And here, as a necromancer, I can tell you, you will communicate with the undead gods. Not fictitious gods, or not gods of light or gods of darkness, but undead gods, gods that were once flesh and blood beings who reached apotheosis during their lifetime and beyond. There are people here right now on this planet who have reached apotheosis, but you do not know them because they would be a target to a lot of humanity. So they have to blend in and they have to basically cover themselves in a veil, not a literal veil, but a costume to exist, because there is people who reach apotheosis while alive now. And that is a goal that you can obtain while alive. Don't let anyone fool you to make you think that you cannot reach apotheosis till you pass. You can. And this necromancy class is dear and near to me and is a part of my heart. It is very part of my heart because I've had many relatives pass, many friends pass, and being able to communicate with them, being able to receive messages with them has calmed the heart, soothed the trauma and the pain of their passing or their death, but it has also opened a doorway for more gnosis, to receive much more knowledge and wisdom. and apply it to my life while I exist in the physical. This path is not for the weak. So I do give you a word of caution. Do not join this class if you're afraid of going to graveyards. Do not come to this class if you're afraid to work with the death current. See, a lot of y'all have spirits around you today. You have spirits in your house. You have spirits everywhere. But the problem is you guys don't charge rent. You have spirits vacationing in your house, consuming space and energy and devouring your space and energy a little bit at a time. You're not even aware of that because you're not charging them rent, because you think you're at the mercy of spirits, or you've been taught to be fluffy and scared of spirits, or to exalt spirits as if they're stronger and more powerful than you. You are the God. And as you reach apotheosis, these spirits respond to you more because they see the power that you have as a grave lord. They see the power you possess as a grave lord, and therefore they respond to your commands. But too many of you all out here in YouTube and throughout the occult and everything else are waiting for something to happen, are waiting for you to be told what to do, and are waiting for some god or demon to give you gnosis. Instead of going and finding it and opening the gateways to achieve gnosis all on your own. This is what necromancy will be for those who want it to be and seek it. They will join the class. They will join the class. You will need a skull. You need an atheme or a dagger, sword, knife, whatever you want to call it. You need to design your altar with images and iconography of death. Surround yourself with that death current on your altar. Vampirism is a part of the death current, so you can put vampiric things on your altar as well. I put several images out recently on Instagram on the Eternal Black Flame page of my altar to give you ideas of how to design your altar, not to replicate my altar. That's my unique energy stamped on there, but to find your unique energy you stamp on your altar, but some of the tools and things you will need. You need a replica of a coffin, a skull, okay, or multiple skulls if you choose. I have multiple skulls. You can have a Grim Reaper, image of Grim Reaper, whatever the case is, have it on your altar. Tombstone, I have one with a bat on top of the tombstone. I have another tombstone coming soon from Lucifer and Apotheca, which has a graveyard tombstone and a vampire next to it. So you design your altar the way you choose, but you need a skull, you need a theme, you're gonna need images of death that you're connected with. You're gonna need a necromancy oil, and I'll tell you where to get it when the class begins. I'm not gonna share that now. You need graveyard dirt. I'll show you how to procure your own graveyard dirt, but if you want to get some graveyard dirt sent to you, that's fine. But in the class, we'll discuss the proper way to procure graveyard dirt. Okay? We'll discuss ways of entering the graveyard and ways to set up your throne in the graveyard as a grave lord. We'll discuss vampirism on the grave, vampirism and the death current, and how associated and connected it is, and how those of you who took the vampiric class will learn additional gnosis if you decide to join a necromancy class. I'm seeking new people out here, as well as my current individuals or members on Patreon. I'm seeking new members out here who have been attracted to necromancy, but I'm not giving you that fluffy shit. I'm not giving you like channel spirits and the spirits. No, this is some real accursed work. All right? This is some real infernal dark work. And it's not all that fluffy spirits love me because a lot of spirits don't love you. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of spirits, and I would say a large portion of spirits hate humanity. They hate humanity because you're still in this existence and they're no longer here. They hate how dumb we can be, how ignorant we can be, how crybabies we are, and how weak we are. So I'm seeking new individuals out here as well that have always been wanting to work with the spirit, the spirits of death, the undead gods, connecting with the current of death and facing up to their fear of death to conquer death. I'm seeking those students out there as well who are seriously wanting to learn about necromancy so we can work some serious magic. So necromancy is not just what we have been taught. Reaching apotheosis through necromancy is essential and is and can and will be done if you choose to dedicate yourself to walk in necromancy. My path has led me 360 and always has brought me back to necromancy, even though as I journeyed through all these different currents, necromancy was always practiced and still has always been practiced. But now that I come back to necromancy in full force, with all that I've gained in these different currents I walk through, it has become more fulfilling and more empowering to me now that I work necromancy, experiencing these different currents and bringing them home. You will learn to communicate with certain undead gods that many people do not understand, do not know, is not written in books, much less revealed to many people. But you will start to communicate with certain of these spirits that were necromancers in life and are willing to teach you necromancy in death. It is up to you what you decide to do from here. But the classes on Patreon, my peoples, are going to drastically change. Left-hand path will be taught. And it serves a purpose to mastering yourself. But there's much more, because you can master yourself and still be weak and cowardly because you do not know the certain gateways and paths that can give you the gnosis while you're alive, that can give you the outlet and expression and the gateways to help you reach apotheosis and become more powerful while alive, not waiting for more food to be fed to you before you say, oh, have I reached apotheosis? No one can tell you that shit. Only you know when you've reached apotheosis. Only you know when you've reached a level of self-deification. So if you really are ready to walk this, sign up. October 1st is the first sign-up date. I hope on the first day, many of you all sign up, because on that day, you will see there's information already on the Necromancy membership tier on Patreon that you can utilize for your work. There's a book there that we will be utilizing. That book is right here. But this is not where a lot of the information will be coming from. Hold on, let me focus this because this thing always gives me trouble. Here it is, Necromantic Sorcery by Dante Abiel. All right, that's a good book. It's a good beginner's book, I can tell you that. But it goes way beyond what's in this book, and we do not utilize gods like he does in this book, but it's still a good book for foundational information. There is other information, other PDF files that will be provided for you that are already posted on there. And I'll have a list on there this week of the tools that you need. I mentioned it today, but I'm gonna make a list of a PDF file of the list of tools you need to perform necromancy. Okay, to be a part of the class. It's not expensive. You don't have to find a real human skull, because that can be expensive. You can find a replica for now and consecrate it and bring life to it. We'll discuss that in class. But eventually you will then empower yourself enough to get the real skull, real human skull. And I have a website that you can obtain that from. There is many things that we will journey through that will open your eyes to life and make you comfortable with death. So I hope to see many of you all there. If you're in my current classes, if you have a way, find a way to get into necromancy. If you don't, that's fine. Stay where you're at. Stay in the current class you're at. That's going to benefit you as well. But this class, necromancy, is going to benefit people much more than they know. Much more than they know. Okay? But anyways, if you can get into necromancy and you're in current classes, please do so. You can maintain your current class, just create a second independent account under a second independent email. What you have to do is go on to email. Let's say you go to Gmail, you create a different account. You can have your name and everything, just it has to have a different email address than the one you currently use on Patreon, okay? And then you create that second account. You can sign up for an additional class that you choose to. Unfortunately, Patreon still hasn't figured out how to correct that. I hope they do in the future where you can sign up for multiple membership tiers and not just one under one account. It still baffles me to this day. But if you do get into this class, please do. If you're able to currently taking class, if you've never taken a class, this is the perfect class for you to enter. If you've always been interested in necromancy and some of the things we discussed here today, this is the perfect class for you to begin, because we're going to hit the ground running. So when you acquire the tools, you'll have, as soon as you sign up, if you sign up October 1st, do not sign up before October 1st, because you'll be charged twice if you sign up this tomorrow and then October 1st, you're charged again. No, they'll charge you at the beginning of the month all the time. So sign up October 1st, okay? October 1st, sign up. That gives you about 7 days to acquire some things you need. Some of the things you need, you can find in a local coat store. It's Halloween. You could go to, Halloween's around the corner. You could go to some of these Halloween stores and use some of those things they have on in the Halloween stores temporarily till you get your final products. But you could start working it with some of the things you'll find in the Halloween store. So you'll be able to acquire that. The list will be put up probably Thursday night. So when you do sign up on Friday, you'll have the list. You're able to acquire all the tools necessary. All the tools necessary to participate in necromancy. So when we hit the class, when the first class, October 8th begins, we can hit the class running and work and stuff right away. Anybody who's never been into my classes, you should already know. And I warn you, I give a lot of work. It's not just me lecturing, blah, 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 nonstop. It's me testing you to test yourself by doing the work and confronting things about yourself, and also doing the work and performing the rituals and performing certain activities that as a necromancer is necessary. Okay? Pay attention to that. These classes are a lot of work. Some people were not ready for that. They saw it was overwhelming and it just didn't vibe with them because they weren't used to a lot of work. They were used to being massaged and their egos massaged and how divine and great you are, that when they had to do work and confront themselves and they saw the bullshit about themselves, they ran. Other people just too busy. So the work overwhelmed them. There's a lot of various reasons. It's just reasons, whatever it is. But if you're going to do this work, do it, because you do not want to just start a necromancy class and then leave halfway. Because once you open that gateway to death, there's no closing that shit anymore. So once it's out there, you want to finish so that you can be your own independent necromancer after that and continue your journey independently. Because I can guarantee you, after this necromancy class, you won't need to take another class with me again if you don't choose to. But this class will last a long time. I'm going to warn you that, because there's a lot of stuff we got to discuss, a lot of stuff we got to cover. A lot of stuff we will discuss and uncover as well. Okay? So the class is going to last a long time. If you're able to sign up and pay for a whole year up front, more power to you. You'll save yourself. I'm going to be on Patreon for a long time now. Okay? I'm not going nowhere. I'm gonna be on Patreon for a long time. So if you want to sign up for Necromancy, pay for the whole year up front if you're able to, because it literally is gonna take about a year. Okay, literally, I'm gonna just tell you now, it's gonna take about a year because you're literally becoming an apprentice of Necromancy. It's like you're becoming an apprentice of doing the work of Necromancy. So yeah, pay for a whole year if you're able to, because there's a lot of stuff we have to cover, a lot of work we're gonna do. Okay, and the time is right, the environment is right. Whereas before, well, last time I did Necromancy class, COVID was just hitting. It was hard for people to get some. Yes, it's still there, and some places are really, closed up, but other areas are open. Whatever the case, if you're able to get out to graveyards and do, now's the perfect time to join. That's all I'm gonna tell you. All right. So infernal blessings, infernal greetings to all. I will talk to you all and see y'all soon. Bye-bye.